Welcome back to part two of Suhani Subah's live interaction with the New Delhi-based journalist and writer Shantanu Guha about Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Some of you might remember we had a riveting conversation with Shantanu yesterday as our part one. Shantanu is a biographer of the retiring Indian cricket captain, MS Dhoni. The book was titled Mahi, the story of India's most successful captain, published in 2013 by Rowley Books. Welcome back, Shantanu.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayank. Always a pleasure to be on Bharat FM with you.
Likewise. Shantanu, we were talking yesterday when we left. You had mentioned that when Dhoni goes into sunset, he may not be focused too much on cricket. But I want you to travel back a bit, because there is a fascinating story that I read in your book about your visit to Pakistan in 2004, right?
Yes.
And I remember vividly that then the Pakistan strongman, General Pervez Musharraf, was obsessing over Dhoni's long hair.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Why didn't you tell me that he, in fact, he even complimented Dhoni and said you shouldn't cut it ever? Talk a bit about that interesting sidelight.
Mike, I've told you my journey into ESPN was very surprising. Vinod Mehta, for once, was extremely surprised. And he said, you're covering oil and gas for Outlook, and you have landed up in ESPN. What will you do there? So I told Vinod Mehta, sir, paisa double de raha hai, aur world भ्रमण का इतना बढ़िया मौका कभी नहीं मिलेगा. कह रहा अच्छा कितना दे रहा है? मैंने कहा सर आप जो दे रहे हैं उसका 3 गुना पैसा दे रहे हैं. कह रहा ठीक है निकल जाओ. You know, 2003 World Cup final and all of that in South Africa. I mean, I started making friends with everybody. And 2004, I landed up in Pakistan just by mistake. I was not supposed to go there. Somebody else was, but somebody said, you know, you should send Shantanu, because he's a new guy. He will try and adjust with the guys there. The moment I realized, I landed up there, I realized we were not the, oh God, sorry. I think,
no, you're all right. You're all right.
Can you?
Yeah, it's all clear.
It's all clear. So I just can't see you guys. I don't know why. So I'll just try. No, this is something else.
I can see you all right. Yeah, okay.
You can see me. Okay, I can continue talking.
Yeah, sure.
So I think what happened actually was very interesting. I landed up there and realizing that I was in a peculiar situation where the host broadcasters were 10 sports, and they were trying to keep ESPN completely out of the scenario there. So I had to do something to keep myself and my team and everything alive. And I told them, listen, we will have to do something. And I went and spoke to the Pakistan Cricket Board that what do I do for visibility, because you guys are keeping ESPN out. And I went and talked to individual players, and it's a very interesting story. I bumped into Mahendra Singh Dhoni in the lobby, and he said, we had slowly becoming friends and we started talking. So he said, you know, you must try and speak to the PCB, and the PCB will try and figure out a way. So I got very nervous, and I went up to the PCB office and I started speaking to many people. I met with Shahryar Khan, and he said, see, we can get the cricketers to you, but it's up to you whether your channel will be permitted or not. But one of the guys there standing, he said, sir, ESPN is the only channel that is visible in Pakistan. Even 10 sports is not visible. They only do the match and then they are off. But the news shows ESPN has, Sports Center, and there was another Hindi show, so Sports Line. So those shows are beamed into Pakistan, a country where all Indian news channels were banned.
I see.
So suddenly everybody realized to be on the evening news show, they must speak to me.
Okay.
So the entire cricket team started talking to us and we all kept on interacting. One day in the corridor, I saw Parvez Musharraf coming from the other side, and I was telling the local handler that, boss, you are bloody obsessed with Kashmir. Even Indians are not obsessed with Kashmir. Arey, boss, just stop thinking about this and you should join ESPN, go to Singapore, get a passport and do some great job. So Parvez Musharraf started laughing. He said, आपने सही फरमाया इसको ले जाइए साथ में.
Achha.
So, unusual, funny things happened and all of that. There was this cricketer called Abdul Qadir. He once told me कि आप लोग इंटरव्यू करते हैं, पैसा मिलता है. मैंने कहा, हाँ गुरुजी, कुछ तो पैसा देते हैं हम लोग इंटरव्यू करने का. कह रहा, कितना देते हैं? मैंने कहा, $25. कह रहा, उससे क्या होगा? मैंने कहा, मेरा डेली अलाउंस $45 है, उसको जोड़ लीजिए तो फिर कम से कम $60-70 मिल जाएगा. So he was very embarrassed. He said, नहीं, अरे भाईजान, मैं आपके लिए कर दूंगा. In every conversation, Dhoni, whenever I met him, he was the coolest guy. And he said, रात को निकलोगे, रात को वहां चलेंगे, वो सब मुजरा देखने. मैंने कहा, गुरुजी, वो थोड़ा प्रॉब्लमेटिक एरिया है, मैं वहां जा नहीं पाऊंगा, लेकिन मैं बता दूंगा कौन आपको लेके जाएगा. मैंने कहा, देखिए, और मुझे ना ये बिरयानी खाने का उतना ज्यादा शौक है नहीं.
This is in Lahore, right?
और लाहौर. अच्छा, then he said, चलो ठीक है, मैं आप किसी और के साथ जाता हूँ. मैं कहा, चले जाओ भाई. I can't really go in the night to do this. In Multan, the same thing again happened. That was an amazing place. Now, everybody took pride in the fact that there was a castle where Alexander stayed. And he was saying, this is where Alexander came. I said, I thought he came to India also, but I don't know where he went. But never mind. Doesn't matter really. Dhoni was the only cricketer. He took a few guys and he said, let's go and visit the castle. So I was standing a little far away. So I said, shall I, मैं आ जाऊं कैमरा लेके? कह रहा, आइए, मजा होगा बहुत. So we followed him. And I said, we will not interview. I'll keep the sound on and we'll keep shooting. You guys talk among yourselves and talk about the country Pakistan is and how interesting it is. And now the two nations have fought many wars and we have gone nowhere with our friendship with Pakistan. How brilliant a trade could have opened, but that didn't happen. So believe me, Mayank, I was so surprised. They all talked about these things. And I kept on listening to them. And Dhoni had some great thoughts. He said, when we have a great market next door, how come we don't expand our trade? Some other cricketers were there, they said it is wonderful, to be in a castle where Alexander stayed on his way back. So I could make out Dhoni, whatever he did very meticulously. Very interestingly, last night, I knew an astrologer in Jharkhand who also does a lot of astrological work for some of the top politicians whom I did not name. So he sent me a note saying, I've done something on Sushant Singh Rajput. Would you like to see it? So he had done some, Jigri Pokri saying the Rahu, Ketu and all that, the Mangal and Shani. It shows that there were 5 people in the room when he died. So I told him, boss, तुम इसको छोड़ो, इसमें तो बंगाली लोग हम जा नहीं पाएंगे. अरे ये बताओ, ये धोनी ने जब किया रिटायर, इसका टाइम का सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? उसने बोला, देखो बॉस, the sunset at 7:29 happened on the southernmost tip of Cape Comorin. Normally it doesn't happen. So the timing was perfect. So he chose the timing very well. And as I told you yesterday, he had 2 options, 26th January, 15th August. He chose 15th August.
I see.
And the fact that he knows what is coming for him. That's why a friend told me that he asked for the ball in the match, semi-final match of the last World Cup where India lost. He asked the umpire for the ball. And he got some of his members, the team members, to sign on the ball.
I see.
So my friend said, I was sanguine, and he was also sanguine that he will never play a World Cup again.
Okay.
Kept the ball. He kept the ball in a glass box. It is there in his home.
I see.
So Dhoni, I'm sure, Mayank, I mean, he's been planning all of this.
For a long time.
And he's planning it for a very long time.
Okay.
And now as I dig more, because I have to do a copy now tomorrow for a website, many people are telling me that the initial plan he shared with his wife, around the time he once went and did some jig for territorial army.
Okay.
Territorial army is not very well known in India, almost like the Salvation Army.
Right.
But I'm sure territorial army has a larger role to play in the country. Otherwise, Dhoni wouldn't have landed up there. So the day he wore the jersey of or the jungle fatigue dress of territorial army, he apparently told his wife that I think I should start rolling back. वो पतंग की जो लटाई होती है जहां धागा बंधा होता है, कह रहा मुझे ये अब उल्टा घुमाने का वक्त आ गया है.
Oh, I see.
This never came out in the papers, and I kept, because yesterday I kept on calling a lot of friends, and I'll again call many friends tonight in Ranchi to know what exactly, how Ranchi got worked up and all of that. Did people go to the temples to say, okay, Ranchi's son has finally moved out of the game, so what he should do? So many people, were telling me these kind of stories.
I see.
Now,
yeah.
So I think, now I'm back on the screen. Now I think these are very interesting stories about a man who still continues to sponsor or to advertise for about 41 brands. He's just one brand less than Virat Kohli.
Right.
So in terms of importance, he's still there.
Right.
But I think he knows he has to step back, and he has stepped back.
Okay. To complete the thread on Dhoni and his famous hair, there is a story that you write about how he chartered a private aircraft in the middle of the night to go to Tirupati to offer a forelock to Venkateshwara.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Well, I cannot name the industrialist whose plane he chartered.
Well, I can guess, but nevertheless,
Yeah, you can guess. There's only one man and the big brother who can lend his plane, just like that. Yeah, like we would lend our cycles.
Right.
I think there is a small temple right outside Ranchi where the legendary Satyajit Ray once went. It's called the Chinnamasta, where the goddess, it's one of the form of Durga, where the goddess cuts her head and puts it in the hand. So close to that temple, there's a temple called Mata Deuri. It's again a form of Shakti. So Dhoni is deeply religious. He doesn't carry it on his sleeves. You will never see those midnight visits to Ganapati temple of Mumbai or some other temple, or he would not do a very public Sabrimala journey.
Right.
But probably he also knew that this World Cup victory, the last winning shot coming from his hand, it was the hand of the God.
Oh,
so he told a few friends that I will go and do the Mundan ceremony there in the feet, the lotus feet of Lord Venkateswara, the Supreme, the Vishnu, the Creator. And he did that. And he came back the early morning, because the next morning there was photo shoots with all the cricket team members holding the World Cup. So he had to be back. So special permission was granted by the Tirupati airport. Dhoni's flight landed up around 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And anyway, the Suprabhatam, Abhishekam happens around 4:30 or something. Certain permissions were granted so that he could go in, offer his hair, and then he came back. It shows that the man of steel.
Right.
It shows his grit, his determination, and many things more. So Dhoni is indeed a very unique person.
To digress a bit, you also write a story about how Shoaib Akhtar was playfully irritated with you because you made him wait while you were talking to Dhoni. He wasn't that popular at that point. You're talking about early 2004. So tell us how Shoaib Akhtar talked to you.
You know what happens? That happens, this rivalry happens between all various channels. NDTV had signed up Shoaib Akhtar. And before every match, after every match, with this swag, he would come and give some gyan. So I told one day, I said, all this gyan, nobody can see. अरे भाई तुम्हारा घर का आदमी भी तो देखेगा तुम्हारा ज्ञान. कह रहा हाँ क्यों क्या बोल रहा है. ऐसे एनडीटीवी में ज्ञान दे रहा है, पाकिस्तान का लोग तो देख नहीं पा रहा है. हम बंगाली आदमी है, तुमको ये बोल दिया हमारे चैनल पे आ जाइए और मेरा डेली अलाउंस में आपको दे देगा $45 और $25 एक्स्ट्रा, $70 मिल जाएगा शाम का. आई डिडंट से टेल हिम दैट शाम का कोटा बन जाएगा आपका, बट यू मस्ट कम एंड टॉक टू अस आल्सो. Okay, next day. So I kept on talking to Dhoni because he had just come forward and the Indian cricket team manager had agreed to give me one cricketer, unlike the Pakistan cricket manager who had agreed to give me 3 cricketers every day after the match, because they knew that, these guys can watch the sports line and sports center program at their home, sitting with their family members and all of that. So when we finished that interview with Dhoni, Shoaib Akhtar was furious.
Oh, he was genuinely furious.
Yeah, he was very furious. कह रहा ये है कौन? आपने हमें इतना इंतजार करवा दिया. मैंने कहा गुरुजी आप चिंता मत करो, ये भी आदमी बड़ा बन जाएगा और आप तो बड़ा बनेगे, आप तो बन ही गए हो, तो आप तो मास्टर आदमी हो. ये वो गुरुजी बोल के I managed it. But the fact that people were noticing him, his batting, his wicket keeping, the fact that he would bend most of the time, go take those hot and cold packs, and they would back be on the field the next day. So they all noticed that this guy is doing something out of the box, and he bats very well also, runs very well between the wickets also. Right. So they knew that he was a star in the making.
Okay.
Of course, that series was hogged by Saurav Ganguly, and that infamous that calling off in that Multan match, where Tendulkar could not complete his double century. Remember, he was called back, the team was declared. Now, Ganguly did that intentionally, we all knew that. I mean, he's a mischievous guy. He deliberately did it, and immediately it sparked a revolt in the team, and Saurav Ganguly called me up to say, I would like to give an interview to you. He realized that only our channel will be shown in Pakistan. So he said, no, he gave an interview to us saying, Team Bonhomie is all there, everything, the nation is first, and all of that and stuff like that, and nobody should feel hurt. So I'm sure Tendulkar also watched that interview and everything was peaceful after that.
Right.
But Dhoni made his mark. Dhoni made his mark in Pakistan.
Speaking of his batting and batting style, I have to ask you this, the famous corkscrew on drive or the helicopter shot that he pioneered. Did you ever get a chance to talk to him about that?
Many times. I mean, he would.
I'm very fascinated by that. I'm sure our listeners and viewers would be very keen to know exactly the genesis of this rather quirky, odd, but great shot.
You know what he once told me? He said, every cricketer is known for one of his shots.
Right.
Gundappa Bishwanath for his square cut.
Absolutely.
Saurav Ganguly for his cover drive. Sachin Tendulkar for his straight drive. So he said, started laughing. Kare, अरे सर मुझे भी किसी का वो लेना चाहिए, तो मैंने ये लप्पा शॉट मार दिया. कह रहा हम ये बचपन में लप्पा शॉट खेलते थे, बॉल आ गया सीधा उठा दिया, अभी थोड़ा ज्यादा जोर के उठाता हूँ, अभी ग्राउंड बड़ा हो गया है, अब 22 yards हो गया, अभी तो गली का गली क्रिकेट नहीं है. So it is basically a lappa shot which is now transferred into a helicopter shot. कह रहे नाम आप लोगों ने ही दे दिया है. But lappa shot, every cricketer used to play. They would lob the ball over the head of the bowler. He said, I have developed a new style. I actually hit, but it looks as if like a helicopter. The ball lifts right from that position. So it's like a small technical thing. He said, I have perfected it. And this is something, an improvised version of a lappa shot in gully cricket.
I see.
So it showed that once again, he was a root man. He was an earthy person. He had no air of finality around him by saying, no, it's my unique shot. I was trained under Greg Chappell and he taught me this and all about John Wright. He never said that. He said, this is the way I started playing cricket. I learned it in the bylanes of Ranchi, and I've developed it in the cricket ground, and that's it.
Right. I'm very curious about his choice of wicket keeping as his calling in the game. Uh, what drove him in that direction? He could have been a batsman full time. He, I think, bowled reasonably okay. Why wicket keeping? Was there any compulsion, or he thought he was going
No,
to?
no, no, not compulsion. It happened when he was in school. He used to play football, and he would be the goalkeeper. Now, Mahendra Singh Dhoni was the goalkeeper, and many a times his coach realized that the high balls that were coming, he had a problem in gripping them. So he was asked that, do you have a problem gripping a ball? He said, yes, because the size of the ball is big. So one day in the class, somebody rolled up a piece of paper and flung it to other guy. It was during an examination. So, students carry parchis, which is basically to cheat, and they carry it. So that guy was throwing that paper to somebody else, in which an answer was written for a question, and Dhoni just almost dived and picked it up even before it could hit the ground. This was watched by his coach, Keshav Banerjee. And after the examination was over, he was called and he said, why don't you come to the cricket ground and let me see how you fare behind the wickets? And he started, and he kept on doing wicket keeping extremely well. So that small incident in school was the turning point in the life of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and he eventually left the game of soccer to get into a game of cricket, and he became a wicket keeper.
Okay. Do you think he ever thought that he could have excelled as much as at football too if he had continued?
I think people have ambitions to be sports persons, but barring Baichung Bhutia, I have never seen a footballer who has great ambition in India. Because in India, end of the day, barring Bengalis and to some extent Goan and Keralites, nobody follows football.
True.
And
right.
in cricket, I mean, that's be all and end all. I mean, you get so much of money, brand endorsement, a godlike treatment and all of that. So I think the choice was very clear for him. He moved to cricket, and of course he did very well.
Right, right. You've interacted with so many cricketers of very different temperaments over the years. Tell me why, in your judgment, Mahendra Singh Dhoni stands out.
He had his feet to the ground. He had his feet firmly to the ground. He didn't show any arrogance. He never displayed any of his arrogance. You would never see him abusing on the ground. At the most, when he was completely frustrated, he might use a word or so in the press conference saying our members need to be a little more fit, and that's all of that. And he remained very earthy as a person. Mm-hmm. So, those things matter in a game where within seconds you become a star and within seconds you become God. But Dhoni remained on the ground, and he continued to do so. When he went back to Ranchi, he would walk into his next door aunt and say, Auntie, I've got a camera for you. Keep this and use it. So next time when you take a picture of me, use this camera. Small gestures mattered a lot. He would walk into the friend of my former colleague. He walk into the home of my former colleague, Gautam Das and Sonali Das, and he would say, अगर बंगाली खीर बनाया है, तो भाभी एक डब कटोरा हमारे लिए जरूर रखिएगा. Now he was in the peak of his cricketing seasons, and he could have easily said, "You guys come over to my home," right. But he quite went in the dark of night, and he had that food.
Right.
So he realized that his father was a poor gardener in a cricketing field, and he quietly told his dad, "Dad, don't work anymore. I can't bear to see my father as a gardener."
Right.
So his father left the job, out took a premature retirement, and Dhoni took charge of the family. So he was very grounded, I would say. And if I would look at Indian cricket team and say someone close to Dhoni in terms of behavior, I would say VVS Lakshman.
Okay.
Very, very down to earth, very honest, no arrogance, nothing. So down to earth, so wonderful to talk to. And see, I'm not a hardcore cricket guy. I'm just a journalist. I'm a complete journalist. I mean, today I might cover cricket. Tomorrow I might do an investigation. I mean, if I do a book on Dhoni, I've just finished a book on coal, which has no connection. But so I could easily evaluate a person much easily than a a writer who would weigh the pros and cons and then write. But to me, Dhoni, VVS Lakshman, very unique stars of the Indian cricket team.
Have you given any thought to how the fact that a wicketkeeper was a captain right behind the stumps, constantly giving tips and critiques and pep talk, shaped Indian cricket over the last decade and a half? Because I'm sure I was watching some videos of his comments caught on the microphone, the stump mic. I mean, it's an interesting subset of that cricketing culture behind the stumps. And Dhoni being both the wicketkeeper and the captain, not to mention a larger-than-life figure in the latter part of his life. How do you think that may have shaped? I know it's a speculative question, but I want to take.
I think it has shaped well because his words were encouragement. His words were encouragement even when he realized the match is almost gone out of the hand. His pep talks were like PK Banerjee's words in the dressing room. Constantly said, good, 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 very good, keep it up, don't worry. अरे it's just a game, करो यार, करो कम से कम 2 बॉल बढ़िया डालो. अरे 2 बॉल लोग देखेंगे, कुछ तो करो. So a constant sense of encouragement was there. If you compare him with, let's say, Azharuddin or a Saurav Ganguly, they would get exasperated on the ground when they see guys not fit enough. Azhar would get very wild and he would gesture with his arms saying, "Arey, what is it, yaar? Can't you run? Can't you get a catch? Kya ho raha hai?" But even if there's a ball on the boundary line and somebody is going to catch, Ganguly would scream his lungs out, say, "Catch it." But Dhoni won't scream like that. Dhoni's pep talks were essentially for the bowler and the close-in fielders. And with signals, he would ask somebody to move to right to left and left to right and all of that. So he was more focused, more zeroed on.
Right. Have you had a chance to talk to him about his innate intelligence as a cricketer? Because a great deal has been said about how astute he is as a cricketing mind. Have you had any conversations along those lines?
Whatever conversations I had with him, I mean, barring cricket, I must tell you that I wouldn't have really followed cricket that much, but Saurav Ganguly's entry into the world of television was because of me. I went and told my ESPN bosses that we must sign the Indian cricket captain for a program called the Samsung Cricket Show, and Saurav signed with us. And whatever amount ESPN promised, I went and argued and I doubled that amount. So Dhoni's introduction to sports television was through me. And many a times in Ranchi and in Kolkata, I kept on interacting with him. I found he balanced his life extremely well. He knew the time he was growing, he was a different Dhoni. The time when he was at the peak, he was a different Dhoni, signing up many brands, doing this, doing that, not spreading the butter too thin. He would not go and land up and give those great, the captaincy series talks and all of that. He remained elusive so that the demand goes high for him. So all kinds of things he would do. And there was a mind thinking behind all of this. He didn't have great people to guide him. He didn't have great godfathers to back him till N. Srinivasan came on the screen. But till then, Dhoni was almost as much on his own, and he would keep talking about various things, and he knew how to plan his life. Only an intelligent person can do that.
Right. To change gears a bit, I can think of 2 other charismatic wicket keepers. One was, of course, the great Farokh Engineer, who in his time was already a star, but if if Farouk Engineer had played now, I think he would have been a massive icon in the league of any of these big names that we are talking about. And the second was, of course, Syed Kirmani. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I'm missing out any major wicketkeeper in India who was as out there, extroverted, entertaining. For instance, I remember Farouk Engineer had scored, I could be wrong, I'm perhaps going out on a limb, but let me do it nevertheless. I think he scored a century before lunch, which was considered extraordinary in those days. Now we live in times when centuries are scored like nobody's business. So tell me, how aware Dhoni has been of figures like, say, Farouk Engineer or Syed Kirmani?
Much, much more than them. Dhoni is in a different league, a league which only a guy like Adam Gilchrist could actually match up. You know, that's the category I'm looking at. That you are an icon in the team, even if you are not a captain, doesn't matter. Even if Virat Kohli is the captain and you are the wicket keeper, you will still remain a great icon. It's almost like saying the Brazilian team is playing and Pele is not the captain. Somebody else is the captain. Garincha is the captain. Didi is the captain. But then Pele is Pele. Now, Pele, of course, is a worldwide phenomenon. And cricket is played only by 10, 12 teams. Even China hasn't caught on playing cricket. But in whatever teams people play cricket, people follow cricket. India being the world's second largest populated country, we follow cricket very seriously. So obviously, cricket has become a great following now with IPL and all of that. Dhoni would be in that league. When he went to CSK, many people started saying, oh, this is the bias of board president. He kept Dhoni for himself and his team, and he let the others go to other teams. But that's just a joke. But the fact remains that people selectively choose their icons and the people selectively use their icons. So Dhoni is just like that. He's much way ahead.
Okay. These are always, again, part rhetorical, part speculative questions or ruminations. What after Dhoni? I mean, of course, there will be great wicket keepers in India after Dhoni, but do you see someone rising to that level of celebrity, legend, iconic status that he has had?
No, I don't think the time has come now. Indian cricket team is all about Virat Kohli and nothing else. I think we have gone back to an era where only Sachin was being named. I think we have gone back to the era. Half of the guys don't even know who's the wicketkeeper of the Indian cricket team. But when Dhoni was there, everybody knew. So, it's as simple as that. You take a random sample of 10 guys asking them who's the wicketkeeper, guys won't know. So we have gone back to the Tendulkar era where we know, Virat Kohli is their boss, a solid guy. He's going to help us win the match. It will take some time before the Dhoni magic completely weans off the ground. And Dhoni is seen in a new avatar. And a new cricketer and a wicketkeeper emerges from there. And Dhoni watches him from the galleries, that will happen.
So the predominance of the batsman as an overarching figure in Indian cricket is here for a while, according to you?
I think as long as he plays the IPL, he'll still be there. I'm told the BJP is already in touch with him. They have asked him if he would consider a role in politics. He's open to the idea. He knows sooner or later, Saurav Ganguly will also move that way. There are cricketers who have gone that way. Chetan Sharma, Chetan Chauhan, Kirti Azad, they've all gone there and they've done some decent work for themselves. He might get into politics for a while.
Ideologically aligned in that direction, according to you?
I think he's ideologically aligned in that direction. I heard a bizarre story.
BJP, I'm saying the BJP.
Yeah, the BJP is in touch. BJP is very, very focused on cricket.
Right.
Otherwise, Ganguly wouldn't have become the BCCI president.
Yeah.
So, and also, I think the government is also contemplating. I was told last night, I asked somebody, I said, give me some dope on him. I need to write a copy. So he said, boss, the government is also thinking that these kind of guys should be ideal brand ambassadors for India. So why don't you make him an ambassador and send somewhere? maybe Australia, New Zealand, even some other country, it'll be a great one. Why not Pakistan also? Now if let's not forget Edmund Hillary came in as an ambassador,
Right.
and he's been an iconic mountaineer, so he served well. So there is a thought process going there. These are also very formative stages of such thought process. As usual, somebody has started demanding a Bharat Ratna for Dhoni. Some politician from Madhya Pradesh who has not seen Dhoni playing also. So these kind of bizarre things will always happen in India.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just the last couple of points. How do you see the overall state of Indian cricket now? And it's obviously deeply commercialized, and it is a hugely lucrative enterprise. But purely in terms of the quality of the game, how do you? I know you are not focused on the game as much as the people who play it, but what's your view on that?
I'll tell you a small thing. You'll understand what I'm hinting at. Once I had gone and met, along with a friend of mine, Virat Kohli's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "मेरा बेटा ना खाना ही नहीं खाता." तो मैंने बोला, "क्यों आंटी, खाना क्यों नहीं खाता?" कह रहा, "पता नहीं उसके दिमाग में क्या घूमता है कि मुझे मैच जीतना है बॉस, मुझे बाकी और कुछ नहीं चाहिए, मुझे वो मैच अगर मैं हार गया तो मैं गया." So I think the Indian cricket team players have become robots.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to win at any cost.
Okay.
They have to remain at the summit. They have to be a multiple times Reynold Messner to be on the top of Everest.
Yeah, but that's a remarkable transformation, because I grew up in the 60s and 70s hearing all the time that we Indian cricketers lack the killer instinct, as it were. Now you're saying it's they are so sharply focused.
Mayank, it is completely reversed. His mother told us. Anyway, I was not writing anything, neither I've written anything now. So we say, really, keh raha wo khata hi nahi hai kuch, sirf pani pita rehta hai, juice pita rehta hai. Anything baked he will eat, but he won't touch a drop of oil.
I see.
And he is so conscious of his fitness, and he's only focused on winning. He doesn't want to lose.
I see.
Now, that's a very strange thing. And that's gone into the Indian cricket team. I think if you see them, they are like machines when they play. Let's say, forget Pakistan, suppose they're playing South Africa also. First, the crowd. Indians fill the stadium 75%. So their roar, their screaming, their moving with the flags, anyway charges you up. And then you become some kind of a machine where you boss have to win. Beyond that, you don't see life. Now, while there's a great positivity to it, there's also equal negativity to it. That means what? What happens when you lose one day? I was told when the World Cup semi-final loss happened, the Indian cricket team in the next day breakfast, there were only one player. Nobody could eat the breakfast the next day.
I see.
So you make out that kind of a pressure blows on their mind. And Dhoni has told many people, I wish I could learn how to dive. तो कम से कम आउट नहीं होता, वर्ल्ड कप के फाइनल में जाता. कह रहे ये डाइविंग आया नहीं मेरे को, डाइव मैं कर नहीं पाया, शायद डाइविंग भी सीखना चाहिए था मुझे. He is told that friend of mine, Boria Mazumdar, in his interview that's come out, he has said कि काश मैं उस दिन उस पॉइंट पे मैं डाइव मार देता, मेरी बैट लग जाती वहां पर. अगर डाइविंग नहीं मार पाया, आउट हो गया. And it's coming from whom? A man who is known for excellent running between the wicket.
Yeah.
So I think the Viday Jatra or the Visarjan happens like that only. Even the goddess also knows that she has to get into the river. And that means Samapti, as Satyajit Ray once very beautifully explained.
Yeah.
That means a new journey starts. So it's happened. So Dhoni will remain Dhoni, and that's the way he will have to see life now.
In terms of details such as where he's going to live, where now? Is he going back to Ranchi or
I think he's going to shuttle between Mumbai and Ranchi.
Okay.
He started a hotel there in Ranchi. It's a kind of a nice 4-star called the Mahi Residency. And he's invested in a lot of companies, and he could soon be on the board of many companies. I'm told the Reliance guys, RIL of the big brother, the Tatas, they're looking at him. You know, Mayank, I have a feeling he could tomorrow become what Sam Manekshaw became after he left the army.
I see.
He was on the boards of multiple companies.
Right.
Because they all liked him. They liked his vision, the way he worked. He's not like a political appointee that he lands up in ONGC without realizing whether ONGC is pumping gas or oil. But here, he could be picked up by multiple companies, and I think my hunch is right. Multiple companies will pick him up and keep him in the board of directors.
So beyond the wealth that he already has, he is way well set for life beyond his own generation, I think.
Oh, yeah, of course. 350 to 400 crores
That's
turnover we are looking at.
Oh, really? And I'm sure it's going to multiply.
I'm a Bengali. I've never even seen 3 crores in my life. So,
you're talking about 3 crores? Can we talk about maybe 30,000 or so for a poor print journalist here?
Yes. So that's it. So he has the cash. He just has to invest it well. I'm sure he will.
Right. No, this has been fascinating. I think we can go on and on with this conversation. You have been exceptionally generous with your time and your expertise.
Fine for you anytime.
No, it's nice of you to say that, but the simple fact is you are the one who has put in the work. You've traveled. You have hassled the people to give you things that you're talking about now. So we are.
No, I mean, I like last night I spoke to many people, took down notes, which are all here. I've written those things. Yeah, I do, because write a copy, you need new things. No, I can't say that it was from Ranchi. Everybody knows he was from Ranchi.
Yeah, totally unrelated point. I'm glad you're saying it, because we live in an era where print journalists like us have been branded as, in quotes, prostitutes, and they don't realize the amount of work that goes into creating even a 500-word piece, for instance.
I fully agree with you, Mike. I mean, you have to dig more to get new stuff. If I don't get new stuff, it becomes a problem.
Absolutely. Now, this has been wonderful, Shantanu, and I want to thank you for your time, and we will be in touch again, and all the best for your whatever book you're working on now.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Lovely talking to you as always.
Pleasure. Thank you, sir. I take your leave now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.